What's up, everybody? This is Coach MJ, the coaching connoisseur, and I want to welcome you to another Monday edition of our Lunch and Learn series. Today, we are going to be talking about the 4 red flags that should tell you that you should take your talents and run. And in specific, I'm talking about taking your talents and running from corporate America, running from the 9-to-5 grind, running away from the cubicle prison, the rat race, whatever nickname that you have given to the job world, which you have found yourself stuck in. And let me get this straight. Everybody doesn't feel stuck in their job. Some people love their jobs, and you might like some things about your job, but you're watching this today because you recognize that there's something missing. You recognize that there's more to the story. You recognize that there's more out there for you. And so if you're feeling stuck and can't figure out how to leave, whether you should leave, I want you to stay tuned and be sure to share this video as well with other ambitious Black women that you know, because we're going to be talking about how you can tell if it's time for you to move. Beside the fact that you are already out here kind of considering self-employment, because that's probably why you're watching this video. Maybe you have a dream on your heart, a business that you've always wanted to start and you just don't know how. I know for myself, when I was in corporate America for years, I was always having something on the side, always planning an event, always, doing music, always doing things with nonprofits I was creating, always just doing something on the side with my graphic design, all of those things. But I never made the shift or made the leap into full-time self-employment. And looking back now that I'm on the other side of it, I recognize that a part of that is that I did not recognize these red flags, because if I did, I would have put more action behind what I was doing. I've learned that in order for us to move out of our comfort zones and step into something unfamiliar or less comfortable, we have to recognize that we are actually currently in more discomfort than we realize. And so that's what these 4 red flags are going to be about. And really, it's more than 4. I just kind of lumped them together, kind of keep the list short because we're short on time today. But share this video, comment, like. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to follow so you can get in on all this great content that I put out on a regular basis. And so the first red flag is that Black women let me say one other thing. That in no way am I implying that Black men don't go through this, or that people in other races or other genders or other walks of life or whatever aren't experiencing these things. We're specifically talking about Black women and what we are going through so that we can step out of that and move into a life that's more deserving of us instead of being in jobs that don't deserve us, okay? So not saying that nobody else is going through this. It's just what you are experiencing. And so number 1, or depending on how you count it, it could be numbers 1 and 2. But number 1 is that Black women are typically overworked and underpaid in our jobs. We already know that there is a gender gap between what men earn and what women earn for identical work. Jury has been back in on that. We already know that. And we already know that Black people earn less money in this country than white people and maybe other races, Asian or whoever else, for the same type of work. So when you add that you are a double whammy or a double wonderful, maybe we'll call it that, by being a Black woman, we are way below the pay grade. However, there is this perception, and I think it's a false perception. Well, I won't say it's a false perception that we have to work more to get less. We do have to work more because of the things that we are dealing with in the work world. But there's this false perception that when you do that overworking, that you will be compensated for financially or otherwise. And when we get down further in the list, we're going to see how we're getting the short end of the stick, not only financially, but otherwise. So there's this perception in this country that, and it's not everybody, but it's enough people where it's a really big problem, that we are either lazy or always trying to get over or not telling the truth or being dishonest, disingenuous, or whatever. And so because of that, we end up working harder to try to counteract that perception that we didn't even put on ourselves. And it is causing us, it's killing us in the workplace. Working longer hours, working, doing more work. I hear so many complaints about that. That's why a lot of people are jumping out. A lot of Black women are jumping out and trying to start their own business. They figure if I'm going to work hard, I may as well be working hard for myself. And I definitely agree with that. But we are severely underpaid. I had my statistics here in front of me, but my page is not loading. But it's a significant amount. We are paid less than even Black men, because of course there's still the gender difference. And so that's one red flag. And this is not new. We've been in this situation, but sometimes it takes looking at the situation all in one big lump to realize that even though it is familiar and it may seem comfortable to stay where you are and it'll come eventually, I'll figure it out. One day I'll magically get rich and be able to get out of here. No, this is a crisis and you need to take positive action now to get yourself out of this situation. It's not going to fix itself, but sometimes we need to recognize how bad things really are for us. So we're overworked and we're underpaid at the same time. And all of our extra work does not translate into being compensated better on the job. Because let's face it, the reason why you go to work is to get paid. Yes, there might be some, hold on, let me get my fan. There might be some level of, feeling fulfilled in your job because you love what you do. But let's face it, at the end of the day, you do it to get that check every week or every 2 weeks. And so when you are not getting what you deserve, even in the job, by the job standard, because you're never going to get paid what you deserve when you work for somebody else. That's a fact. But even by job standards, if you're not going to get paid what you deserve, that leads to disengagement, disillusionment, frustration, which you carry with you further into your job, and that makes you actually sometimes show up even worse. You think you're putting on a good facade, but it can be sensed by those that are paying attention that you are really not all there. I know I experienced a level of disengagement for years at my job, and it wasn't that I didn't work at a great company. It was a great company to work for, but that wasn't where I belonged. And here's what's true. If you don't belong in a place, you can fake the funk for a long time. You can keep staying there. It's never going to get better. You can keep saying, well, if I just go back to school and get another degree, or if I just maybe get a different position, I'll feel better. No, sis, if you have a dream on your heart, if you have a passion and a purpose and assignment that's beyond the walls of your employer, you're never going to feel better about being there no matter what you do. It's time for you to take your talents and run. The second red flag that means that you should be out of there as soon as possible is that you are underappreciated and overlooked. And that kind of ties in with what we were just talking about. In the same breath where you will get, patted on the back, maybe sometimes for certain things, there's always a perception on the other side of you're intimidating, you're an angry Black woman, you're aggressive, and all these other things you're seen as not as competent. So when promotions come along, they say there's a glass ceiling for women, there's a concrete ceiling for Black people. So what do you think it is for a Black woman? A concrete ceiling. Yeah, it's a concrete ceiling for you for sure. And it's something probably even worse than that. Probably something that just a substance that repels you is what that ceiling is about. But you're overlooked for promotion. There's always a reason. We're working on it, or, we like you so much in this position. You're so effective. Let's keep you there. I know somebody who was kept in a certain, they were in charge of a certain location of the business that they worked for, and they were kept in management in that position, supposedly because they were so good at it. And they were, but that was also their reason for keeping this individual from moving up, because you're so good at this lower level position, right? Overlooked for promotions. And it's not going to end. Now, I'm not saying that no Black women ever move into higher level positions, but where we are, like, I think the statistic is 17% of the entry level. By the time it gets up to the C-suite or where the CEOs are, we're down to 4%. But we're not just 4% of the population. And even if we are, so what? We're certainly not just 4% of the talent and the giftedness and the ability that we all have. So we're not being recognized. And then whenever one person gets there, they're used almost as a token. Again, sis, if that's you in that C-suite position, I'm not saying you're not capable. I'm not saying you didn't work too hard to get there. You did. But the way they hold you up as, see, we're diverse. See, we're not racist. See, we are equal across the board. They're going to use that one person and her picture is going to be everywhere. to show that they're diverse. Is your company like that? Every time you have a diversity initiative or they say something about, whatever the topic is that has to do with we are inclusive, they show that same person's picture, them same couple people, and you're like, okay, but where's the rest of them? You gotta watch them. You gotta watch them when they're saying we're diverse. There's all these white men, couple of white women, maybe, and then they'll have one black person, and a lot of times she's female. Maybe she'll be a male. The bottom line is we deserve to be at those tables. But I'm saying because of the underappreciation and being overlooked all the time, if you have something on your heart, you don't need to be at that table. You need to create your own table and bring who you want to the table. We got to stop asking the people who benefit from keeping you down to somehow change and benefit what they see as less. Now we know if we brought our magic to the table, their businesses would do much better. We know that because we are that capable, right? But they're not going to get that all the time. There's a few and far between outliers that do get it. The rest of them, they think that, well, we'll keep this sister in her place, and we'll do all that. Ma'am, create your own table. Stop trying to sit at a table that was never designed to feed you, and build your own table. You have got to take your talents and run, sis, and do it now. The third red flag that means that you need to take your talents and run is that the fatigue and burnout. See, all of these are tied together. They're not individual. They work together, but we're just calling them out. The fatigue and burnout from being a Black woman in corporate spaces. And when I'm talking corporate, I'm talking about really any job space, whether it's retail, hospitality, government, regular business offices in corporate America, whatever it is exhausting to be a melanated person in the workspace, especially in the when you're also a woman, the microaggressions and just all the things that we deal with, the out and out racism, the discrimination, the harassment, and just knowing that no matter how phenomenal you are, it never is going to matter. And here's the rest of the story. Here's the flip side of almost everything I've just said. Even if you did get more appreciated, even if they don't overlook you, even if they don't overwork you and you feel like you're paid what you're worth in the job world, ma'am, you have an assignment. You have a purpose for being here. You have a passion on your heart that no job, no matter how well they treat you, no matter how you are esteemed, it's never going to be enough because that's not what you're here for. That's not what you're here for. So I guess I have a little sub red flag I'm going to throw in here is that even if things are okay or great at work, but you're still distracted all the time, that means you're not supposed to be there. When you are all in, you're all in. Like I said, when I said at the beginning, this isn't for everybody. This is for those of you who aren't all in. This is for those of you who are disengaged. I was where you are. Even when I had jobs I love, I remember for 3 years, I was a trainer. And for me, I wouldn't say I was a dream job because, again, I didn't necessarily have a dream job, but I love training. That's why I love doing these lunch and learns, and I love being a coach and speaking from stage and all that because I love doing that particular skill set. But as close as a dream job as I could have had was when I was a trainer. But even during those years, I was still distracted by all the stuff I was doing on the side, all the stuff that I wanted to be doing, always finding little moments to be on their computer doing other stuff. Don't judge me because you do it too. Just, planning events and starting businesses and doing graphics and all of this stuff I was doing. And if I was all in to that job, I wouldn't have been doing it. Now, when I was a trainer, that particular job did tie up my whole day. I didn't have as much time to be distracted because I was in the classroom all day. But in between classes, I was still distracted by wanting to do more. I always have been. And I wish I'd had a mentor. I wish I'd had a coach to pour into me and say, it's okay. Go out on your own and here's how to do it. Because here's the rest of the story. I knew, maybe I didn't always know I could do it full time, but I knew I could do more and I could do different things, but nobody was telling me, holding me accountable and telling me I could do more and then showing me how to do it. You can't just figure out how to build a 6 or 7 figure business on your own. Like even the people who say that they are self-made or who seem like they did it on their own, pull themselves up by their bootstraps, they didn't. They may not acknowledge who helped them, they may not even be doing it in a vindictive way or trying to keep other people down. They may not just realize all the different ways that people can pour into your life. It could just be in one conversation with one person. But if that was in a kind of a mentorship role, they are part of your story, and you need to acknowledge that and understand that. Maybe somebody worked with you for a year or so, and then they moved on, and you didn't think of it, or they didn't think of it as somebody who was helping them to get where they are. But it was every person who inspired you, every person that speaks to you, every person that pours in, and every person that works with you side by side to show you exactly how to start your business and how to scale it and how to keep it going for the long haul. Those people are in your corner as well, and they are a part of your story. Nobody is self-made. So I didn't have anybody pouring in to tell me this isn't it. I had a few people kind of encouraging me to how to stay in the job world, but that never was good enough because that was not where I was supposed to be. I'm supposed to be where I am right now, and you are too, which is why you're watching this. But recognize that fatigue and burnout is real from being in a space where you don't belong, a space where you were never meant to thrive. Corporate America, and really no job of any significance, is made for you. Because you got to remember, our beloved and amazing and resilient, strong ancestors were brought here to do what? Be leaders? No, they were brought here because those wicked people wanted to keep them down. That same system is in place today. No, we're not picking cotton and tobacco in fields, but we are still not meant to be at the table. We are still meant to be kept down. And I know some people feel like it's their job to crack open those ceilings and break down those barriers in the job world. And that's great. I want them to continue to do that. You are not meant to do that. You're meant to do new things. You're meant to create new tables, new spaces, and bring people along without all that extra stuff. So there's two ways that people are going to help the situation we're in. Some people are meant to stay there, right? And break through barriers. But a lot of you're who watching this video, the people that watch my content, you know you're meant for more. You know you have something you're supposed to be doing. And maybe you're scared. You probably are scared. You're scared to step out of your comfort zone. I have people all the time who say they're ready, but then when the opportunity is presented to move forward, they get scared. They talk themselves out of it. And that's why I want to give you permission to feel the fear. It's okay to be afraid, but you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. If you're looking for a space where you can step into success and not be fearful, it doesn't exist. I can tell you that. Excuse me. I'm afraid every day. Not afraid like, oh my goodness, I can't get out of bed, but just always, maybe I shouldn't say afraid, on the edge, feeling that uncertainty, feeling like that, now this isn't for me, feeling that stuff comes up all the time. You have to know how to beat that back down, how to destroy that by having something that you're stepping into that is going to be the exact opposite of those negative things. But you need to take your talents and run, because it's not going to get any better where you are, not to the level where you're going to be satisfied. You are meant to be the head honcho, not the hired hand. Take your talents and run. And then the fourth red flag we're going to talk about is the uncertainty of these times. COVID, pandemic, unemployment. And with amongst Black women, it's almost 7% as opposed to less than 5% in the population as a whole. In other words, we are leading, we're ahead of the national average in unemployment. And I know there's all these people wondering what's happened. Every business is hiring, but all these people are unemployed. And there's this whole big thing. It's like the whole country, or a good part of the country, is on strike. Like, we're not going to accept these low-paying, terrible condition jobs. We're just going to sit out here and figure it out. And a lot of people are figuring it out. They're jumping out there on their own. They're doing gig work. They're collecting unemployment for some people. They're doing what they feel like they have to do because they don't want to go back into these jobs. They don't appreciate them. Black women are experiencing that even more so, because so many of us are in jobs that were hit hard by the pandemic, right? A lot of the service jobs and tourism and hospitality and retail, those types of jobs were where many of us were. So we were hit even harder than some other demographics in this country. And so we're suffering more. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. Inflation. If you're trying to buy a house right now, like right now is a great time to sell a house, but sellers become buyers. I've been tempted. I mean, there's a lot of equity built in right now because of how home prices are inflated right now. And I was tempted. I was like, man, I could sell and do, but then I had to spend that money and more to replace the house. I'm like, let me just sit tight, right? Because of course, what goes up has to come down. But all of these uncertain times, these weird things that's going on in the financial world and economics, in relationships, right? A lot of mental health issues are, I won't say they were being developed by COVID, but also in addition to being developed by COVID, they were already in place. We've been having, as a people, PTSD all along. It's not new. It's just being made worse by some of the isolation and the uncertainty. So relationships, marriages have fallen apart, just things of that nature. A lot of uncertainty right now. And so whereas people, maybe you were one who thought job security, being on your own is scarier than job security. There is no job security. That veil, that false front, because I say there never was job security. Anytime somebody else can walk in and say you're out of here, no matter how good a job you were doing, that's not security, right? That's insecurity. Security is when you're in control, right? But maybe you believe the false narrative of job security, and now that's been shaken to the core. What you thought was a job you could never lose, maybe you lost your job. Maybe you're still working, but maybe they've cut your hours. Maybe nothing has changed with your job, but you saw some other people at your company get the axe and you were relieved that it wasn't you, but it could be you next. Maybe you're in a what do they call it? Essential worker job, but still, like a lot of my medical folk that I talk to, the extreme people are quitting for various reasons, but one of them is the burnout from, again, so much work. People are leaving, so there's more work. Doctors, nurses, all those individuals. My daughter's a CNA. All of these uncertain times can be a sign to you that now is the time for you to take your talents and run. I know it seems like, yeah, I've got a job every 2 weeks, the money's coming in, I can get another job. But if this time is not telling you anything else, it's telling you that if you're supposed to be stepping into your greatness, that you are supposed to be doing something more to bless others with whatever your talents and gifts are, this is the time. If you haven't learned anything else from COVID and this situation, it's not just COVID, but that shined a lot on a lot of things that were already in place. This is your time. The very thing that you do for your employer, you can do for yourself, but on a greater scale. Why? Because you will be in the driver's seat making the decisions. And while that may be a little bit, oh my goodness, that's a lot. No, all those ideas that you have that they don't listen to, or they listen to them and act like they didn't hear you say it, and then they repurpose it and they say they said it, that kind of stuff. Now, that won't be happening when you're in charge. You can run your company the way you want to run your company. All of those, all those times when things weren't great and it didn't change, even though y'all reported it and all that. You can set up your company's culture the way you want to set up your company's culture. And you won't have to do that. Ma'am, the job world has taught you, probably, it's beat you down to believe you're only worth 50K, 70K, 90K, and you're holding on to your little retirement funds and whatever that is because you feel like that's all you're worth. No, you are worth so much more. They pay you because they want to make millions. If they can make millions, at least in part off of your contribution, what does that tell you? Your contribution is worth more than they're cutting you in on. I guarantee it, no matter what your role is, because a lot of times you can't bring your whole self to work anyway. They're not even getting your best. You're giving them the best of what they want, but they're not getting your best. Your best is worth millions. Whatever the problem is that you can solve, whatever changes you can help make in organizations or in individuals' lives, it's worth millions. I can tell you that without even knowing who you are and what it is that you do. But you have to believe in yourself, and you have to recognize that you are worth it, and that there will never be a better time to leave. If you don't wait till you get laid off and you're in a desperate situation, leave on your own terms. When I got cut loose from corporate America, it was a layoff, but I had already started my business on the side. And I said, I'm going to work this on the side and until it gets to a certain place, and I'm going to quit. A week later, after I decided to become a coach, I lost my job to a massive layoff at the company I worked at. That doesn't have to be your story, though. You don't have to wait on that. I know you might think, well, let me just wait till they do it so I can get a severance package. Ma'am, whatever severance package they're getting is less than what you can earn yourself in a shorter amount of time without adding to the underappreciation, the overlook, overwork, underpaid, fatigue, and burnout, without adding to that even longer. Like, why would you mistreat yourself and give yourself less for longer to get that little chump change? Right? Don't do that to yourself. Don't, but it's, I get it. I get it. Everybody doesn't come to the party with the full outfit on, for lack of a better word. There's a lot of head games going on. There's a lot of mental trash that's in your head making you feel like you don't, and you tell yourself, oh no, it's not really for me, or I'm gonna figure it out, or I'm gonna think about, what I want to do. I'm gonna weigh my options. This isn't for me, and all this time stuff you tell yourself. It's not true. That's just things you tell yourself because you are afraid, and maybe you don't trust yourself to be able to step into your greatness. But what I know about you, without even meeting you, is that you can do this. And not only can you do this, you will do this if you have the tools, if you have the support, the accountability, the step-by-step guidance, the support, the camaraderie, because entrepreneurship can be lonely as well, because you don't have coworkers, you don't have a manager, you don't have people working for you, at least not at first. So it can be scary to leave this organization that even when things aren't going well, to step into something new. But I'm here to tell you that holding my hand and walking step by step towards your dream, you will make it. And that's why I want to invite you to my upcoming Build Wealth While You Travel Challenge. It's a 4-day experience. We're coming up in a couple of weeks, and we will be going through everything you need to do to transition from hired help to head honcho. It's a lot. Everybody wants to know about the tactics. Oh, how do I market myself? Oh, how do I do this? How do I do that on that end? But you have to start out making sure that you are telling yourself the right things, that you are thinking the right things, saying the right things, connecting with the right people to get yourself set up for success. Because it's not everybody you might think that once I get the success, then I'll have the confidence, I'll have the certainty. No, until you have the confidence and certainty, you won't get to that level of success as an entrepreneur or as a person working for somebody else. But if you are in this challenge, you're going to get the building blocks to start your business as a coach. Now, when I say coach, some people think, oh, I don't want to be a coach, but I'm just talking about using your expertise to solve problems in the marketplace, to move people and organizations from where they are to where they want to be, using the things that you already know. You don't need a degree. You don't need a coaching certification. You don't need any of that. Whether you want to speak, whether you want to be a writer, whether you want to be a trainer, or whether you want to do like me and be all of those things and more, and be able to travel freely, because that's the other thing. I'm all about creating freedom. I don't want you to be tied down to another thing that looks like a job. You can run your business from anywhere in the world with internet, because it's about what you know and not about where you are. But it starts by you getting your ticket for the upcoming Build Wealth While You Travel Challenge. The website is buildwealthwhileyoutravel.com. Go out there, grab your seat. We're capping it at 100 people this time. Go out there and my pro tip is get the VIP ticket. Yes, the challenge is free if you get the basic ticket, but you don't want to be basic. You want to be VIP and go first class. So go ahead and give yourself an early Christmas gift. If you are a Christmas gift buyer, give yourself an early birthday gift or a late birthday gift and get you a VIP seat. It's going to be a ride. Lots of things thrown at you. It's going to be like drinking from a fire hose, but it's going to be amazing because you're going to get everything in a short amount of time that you need. New opportunities will open up for you. And then to build your business and build it quickly. Why drag it out another 10, 15 years trying to DIY it and figure it out on your own and, all that stuff. We're going to learn how to combat fear. Fear is the number one thing that stops you from claiming your dream. You might think, oh, I don't have anybody to help me, or I don't trust this person or that person, or whatever the things are. But it's really about the fear within you that's stopping you from claiming your dream. Maybe you don't trust yourself to show up. Maybe you've tried and failed before, or you felt like you failed. It's not the only thing that beats a failure is a try. I don't necessarily like that saying, but as long as you keep moving forward, you can't fail. Maybe it doesn't work out the way you think it's going to, but as long as you keep moving forward, it will work out. So I want you to go out to buildwealthwhileyoutravel.com and join the Build Wealth While You Travel Challenge 2.0. We just had a challenge, and this one's going to be even better. We've retooled some of the things from the challenge. That's why I'm calling it 2.0. You don't want to miss out on this. So again, buildwealthwhileyoutravel.com. Get in on it. Get your seat reserved now. Don't wait. Don't think that you're going to remember to do it next week, or I'm just going to see. It's only 4 days, and it's not 4 full days. It's 4 sessions over the course of 4 days. It's going to be worth your time because it's going to give you what you need to create total freedom for yourself. We're talking time freedom and income freedom. That's what you want. You don't want to fritter away any more of your life in a cubicle prison with no hope. 9-to-5 grind, corporate rat race, especially in these crazy times that we're living in. This is the best time to leap out there. This could be God's way of pushing you out of the nest. He's using this pandemic and all the uncertainty surrounding it to push you out of the nest of security that you thought you were in, of safety, of comfort, and familiarity. But you have to make a decision to make the first move. And the first move is being in this challenge. So buildwealthwhileyoutravel.com. Reserve your ticket now. And I look forward to meeting you and walking you 4 steps closer to your dream. It's been my pleasure to share with you today. I'll be back next time with another exciting Lunch and Learn. But until that time, be blessed and stay safe. Bye-bye.